I have been someone who has devoted my life to healthcare. As a 18-year-old, I joined the military as a combat medic. I served my country in hospitals in dealing with sick and wounded people. When I got out and I decided I wanted to stay in hospitals, but I wanted to do it from a perspective of working with people's emotions and their families. And I have worked in and around healthcare for the rest of my time as a social worker. People know that I have worked as a hospice social worker. I have sat with hundreds, perhaps thousands of families as they have taken these last steps in this sacred journey of death. And my friends, it is a sacred journey that we take with our families, with our own perspective, with our own thoughts about death. I feel blessed to have sat at the bedside with so many, to witness their struggle, their reconciliations, their peace. And I can tell you that almost without question, people want to know at the end that their life has meant something. They want to look back and know that it counted. And for the most part, they want to die on their own terms. And sometimes that is hanging on to the bitter, bitter end in any way imaginable. And I have sat with families and prayed for their miracle. And I've also helped them plan if that miracle didn't happen. You've heard me say, in my 20s, 4 months and at her bedside, I cared for my godmother as she died. In my 30s, 4 months, years, she lived with me. I cared for my grandmother and was at her bedside when she died. In my 40s, after a decade of caring for my mother, I was at her bedside when she died. And remember, since we have been on this floor together, I cared for my sister-in-law as she died a violent death of cancer. And as you know, I became a subsequent parent from that death. And then 3 months later, my brother and sister and I sat at my father's bedside as he drew his last breath. And we toasted him with some wild turkey. I don't come at this lightly. I did my PhD in the state of Oregon. In 1997, I began when the end-of-life options came into effect there. I did my dissertation on end-of-life decision-makings for Latino families. Not in Oregon, in California. I came back with my mother. As she was dying, she served as my research assistant. I wanted to make it as culturally appropriate as possible. And we traveled up and down this valley and met with families after they'd lost someone and talked to them about their process and about their intersection with the healthcare system, the clashes they'd had, and ways that we can make that better. I did my doctoral research internship at the Center for End-of-Life Decision-Making in Oregon. I don't come at this lightly. I spent a decade in academia teaching graduate students about end-of-life and how we do it respectfully. I don't come at this lightly. I agree we need to improve healthcare and healthcare outcomes. I am committed to doing that. If I am lucky enough to have a decade in this House, I will continue to work on that. I am committed to having a select committee on end-of-life care. We put in a 10-year sunset on this. There is an annual report due from Public Health to see how we're doing, how it's coming along. I will hold a legislative hearing every year so that we can review what's going on and make adjustments if we need to. I am committed to this issue of people being able to die on their own terms. Everybody in here who talked about their own experience of death, that is good, that is yours. Keep it, hold it, pray for the miracle. Other people want a different option. We all heard from Brittany Maynard's husband, a young woman who was desperate to live, who tried everything to maintain her life. And when it was time, when she knew there was no more hope, she had the resources and the privilege to move to Oregon to be able to take this, and in her final moments, she took it, she gathered her family around, and within 5 minutes, she died a gentle death. In our first press conference, Jennifer Glass came and spoke. Her words stayed with me. Her face stayed with me when she said, I have done everything to live. Please don't make me die on your terms. Let me die on my terms. She did chemo, she did Reiki, she did radiation, everything she could possibly do. But she did not want to die that last ugly death as she knew hers would be because of the type of her cancer. She died in exactly the way she feared a week before we reintroduced this bill. Exactly the way she feared. She had to go into terminal sedation. For a week, she starved to death and she died of dehydration. She woke up at least 2 times in a panic with her family sitting, watching. She drowned in her own fluids. Exactly the way she didn't want to die. Christy O'Donnell came. Twice she's come, 3 times she's come to testify. She identifies herself as a Republican, as a Christian. She spent over a decade in the Los Angeles Police Department, and then she decided she wanted to become an attorney. With her young daughter as a single mother, her daughter sitting under her desk as she got her law degree, and she fought to defend our laws. She has done everything she can to live, and now she realizes she will die. The last gift she wants to give her 21-year-old daughter is to have her have a peaceful death, to have her daughter and her family gathered around her. She can take this medication and she can peacefully go away. She does not want the last thoughts that her 21-year-old daughter that she has spent her whole life protecting, being proud of, developing a relationship with. That mother wants that control in that last minute to say, this is the memory I want for my baby, for my little girl. Why would we want to take that from her? We've heard a lot of talk about the special session. It's not the time. She's waiting, members. Other people are waiting for us to be able to act. Do we still need to work on health care? Yes, we do. But do we have an opportunity today to provide a choice, a compassionate choice to Californians who are dying? In the process, people are watching. I can't tell you how many stories, how many people have reached out to me on this bill. I can't tell you the amount of people who have reached out to me and said, thank you. I showed up to work one day and a man was dead in the lobby having shot his head off because he didn't want to do it at home where his family would find him because he was dying and he didn't have any other options. We are all, hopefully, members in control of our own destiny. We are all going to die. As we look back at that trail, at the footsteps that we've left on that path, some people, members, want to be in control when their footstep makes the last mark. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.